Yeah. Yeah.
Marriages.
Okay.
Because we do so many things, different things.
All right.
We are a semi-autonomous body. We are set up by an act of parliament. So we have different registries. We have the business registry that deals with the registration of companies, business names, and that is linked with the Directorate of Insolvency. So we believe if you start your business in a formal way, you should end it in a formal way. So that is what the Directorate of Insolvency does.
Okay.
Then we have the Intellectual Property Registry that deals with registration of intellectual property. That is trademarks, copyrights, patents, name it. Then we have the Chattels Registry that deals with, you've heard about simple. Then we have the Civil Registry. Now that is the one that deals with marriages.
Yeah.
So, so particularly anyway, I'm here to talk about the Civil Registry, which is registration of marriages. And in Uganda, we recognize about 5 types of marriages. We have the church marriage, the famous church marriage, where you go to church and you get married. However, that church must be licensed. So before you go to church, it's not that like any church can wed you. So you need to find out, is that church licensed? Does it have the authority to wed you? Because if it weds you and it doesn't have a license, that marriage in law is null and void, and it cannot be registered.
Okay.
Then we have the civil marriage. Those are the marriages that take place from our office for Kampala. Then for other districts, they go to the chief administrative officers. That is the other marriage which people think is court, like court marriage. And then the Islamic marriage for the Muslims, the nikahs when they go to the mosque. Then we have the customary marriages. Those are the Kwanjula, the Kuhinjira, name it, depending on the tribes. And then we also have the Hindu marriages. Those are the ones for the Indians that take place in their temples. So all these marriages, we have the mandate as URSB to register them. So wherever they have taken place, ultimately they have to end up at our office for registration.
Okay, I think this is the question. I mean, if I want to get married to someone, I mean, why is it, I thought this is me and this person, why now have to register it with you?
The government needs to know how many people are married. I mean, our register, they use it for planning, national planning, and so once you get married, we need to know how many people are married in the country and how many are not. So, and secondly, sometimes when have you been, like you want to travel out of the country, you're with your spouse, you go to the embassy, you're applying for a visa, and then you say you're married. They will ask you for proof. Your certificate from church or from the sub-county chief for customary marriage or from the mosque for Islamic marriage is not enough. Like the embassy will trust something from the government more. So that is why after you get that certificate from your church or from the mosque or from the sub-county chief, you need to bring it to URSB for registration. Okay. Administrator General's office, like God forbid, one spouse has died, and then maybe the other spouse wants to apply for letters of administration. You'll need to prove that you were married to that person. Otherwise, any other person will just come up and say, this one was my husband, this one was my wife. So they will ask for proof, and the only document they can trust is the one that is from the government, is the one that is from URSB.
All right. Then tell us through the modalities. For instance, I go for Kwanjula, my fiancé introduces me. So from there, who issues that certificate? Or if after this whole ceremony, do I now immediately come to you to say I had this, so I need a certificate? So what is the process in there?
Okay, for the Kwanjula, which in law, or which I may term as the customary marriage, of course, it takes different shape and different names depending on the tribe or culture. So here in Uganda, it is the Kwanjula. So once you do that customary marriage, you get a certificate from the kingdom, right?
Yes.
So once you get that certificate from the kingdom, you will approach the town clerk or the sub-county chief of the area where that marriage took place. So the town clerk or the sub-county chief of that area is the registrar of customary marriages in that area. So once the town clerk or the sub-county chief is satisfied that the marriage took place, he will issue a certificate of customary marriage and also issue you a cover letter forwarding you to our office for registration.
Okay. Yeah, so you have an event coming up this, I think on Friday, that's tomorrow.
Yep.
Tell us more about this event, because I'm told that you have couples that are, going to exchange vows in an office presided by a registrar of, because there is this bit of, and I think you're going to throw light on this. There is this bit where I think a greater bit of our side of culture has so much. If you're not wedded in church, it just doesn't, just doesn't make sense. So. How are you maybe trying to make sure people can appreciate that, you can still do such a kind of marriage and still, it's also a marriage, because people are like, no, that is contract marriage. This one is more binding, So just a quick one on that.
Okay, and you have actually put the general perception of how people consider these marriages that take place in offices. We do wed people on a daily, from Monday to Friday at our offices. That is the civil marriage that I talked about. But people think that it is so legalistic, it is so formal, it is so strict. But tomorrow we are celebrating Valentine's Day earlier because it is going to fall on a Sunday, okay, and we do not work over the weekend. So we are celebrating it tomorrow on a Friday. And basically, we want to change people's perception about civil marriages. We want to show people that it can still be rosy, it can still be romantic, it can still be all about love as a civil marriage. And Ugandans are embracing civil marriages. If you see on social media, the good bit is that we also have the special license bit where you want to do a civil marriage, and you don't want to come to office, so you want to go to gardens, to the hotel. So we can still do that civil marriage from outside. So tomorrow we are decorating our office, we are giving out gift hampers. We just want people, when they come, they feel like they are not in an office setup. We want them to feel like they're in gardens or at the beach, or we just want to change that mindset so that they enjoy their day, they enjoy civil marriage. And we encourage people to, because civil marriages are cost effective. For a national, you pay about a total of 320,000 to get married. I'm not saying that the other marriages are so expensive.
No,
but
they are. That is the reality. No,
well, I am not that certain that they are. But from the look of things, our marriages are cost effective, so we want to encourage people. Do not think that it is a contract, it is so legalistic, it is so strict and what. No, it is a marriage just like how you walk to church. You can even put on a gown and have maids and have, it is like, the difference is just in the word, civil and church. After all, civil marriage and church marriages are all provided for under the same law. So it is basically the other side, it is church, it is the priest, and this side, it is a registrar.
Yeah, now here it's, we are going to get a little bit scholastic in here, because I think people, why, in my personal opinion, is the reason they really try to shun civil marriage is that they really think this one is, for instance, I'll quote the Bible, what God has joined together, No man. So they really believe. So with the civil kind of bit, they think government is able to break this, or like they just have, there is that bit of security that, and well, maybe you don't blame people because they already think that, you know, when God is in the atmosphere, I mean, things guaranteed work. Now, when you go this other side, okay, it may not last. I think it's just a contract, and in law, every contract has a loophole. That's what the lawyers say. So, how do you demystify such?
I will say this again. Civil marriages are not contractual. It's not a contract. It is a lifetime commitment. It can be dissolved either by a divorce, going to court, and court pronounces itself on that marriage, or if one of them is no more. Those are the only two ways how you can. It's not that you're married for 2 years and after the 2 years the contract is done.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
It is a lifetime commitment.
Yes.
So and I understand when people think that maybe here God is not involved or what, but for example, where you find yourself in a scenario where this is a Muslim and a Christian, and they both want to remain in their faith. No one wants to change to Islamic, no one wants to change to Christianity. But they love each other. Should they not get married?
They obviously have.
So civil marriage is the answer. They'll come, do their civil marriage, they'll be legally married, and they will still have their faith. There will still be a Muslim, there will still be a Christian. For example, in church they say they don't allow divorce. But we know sometimes things don't go right. And where a marriage has reached a point where you can no longer be together, it is okay, you can do a divorce. But remember, church does not allow divorces. And this person wants to wed again. What happens? Should they just resign to fate? No. Still, civil marriage is the answer. They'll come they approach to the chief administrative officer from any district, and for Kampala, they come to our offices and they'll do their civil marriage.
All right. I've been informed that, you know, these days some churches actually first ask for the certificate from ERSB to wed couples. Is it now so much mandatory for that to take place? Especially now, I think that you talked about customary marriages, that, you know, before they now, you know, head into wedding, now it's becoming now more of a requirement for churches now to wed.
Like I said, there are 5 legally recognized types of marriages in Uganda. The church marriage, it can stand on its own as long as the church is licensed. So you do not need to first get civil marriage from ERSB for you to do a church marriage. No, the church marriage can stand on its own, and it is monogamous in nature, meaning that it is strictly for one man and one woman. Yeah. Civil marriage also can stand on its own. You do not need to first go to church and then later go to the cow or come to ERSB. No, it can stand on its own, and it is also still monogamous in nature. One man, one woman. Then the customary marriage. Now, this one is potentially polygamous. You can do a customary marriage as a man. You can be introduced by one woman and you say, no, this is enough for me. So you can, like, you decide to say, I'll only stop at customary marriage and I will remain with that woman. But should you wish to add, nothing stops you. If you have only done customary marriage, because it is potentially polygamous, meaning you can be introduced by someone else and someone else and someone else, as long as you can handle. But if you have done a customary marriage and then you go ahead and do a church marriage, like, I think that is the most common procedure. Like, you do a kwanjula and then after like a week you go to church. Now, once you do a kwanjula and you go to church, it means that you have converted your potentially polygamous type of marriage to a monogamous type of marriage. So the moment you do a church marriage, it bars you. You can not add any other person. So and then we have the Islamic marriage. It also stands on its own. The faith allows that a man can marry up to 4 wives, and he can still register them with us. And then the Hindu marriage, that is from the Hindu temple for the Indians. So there is nothing like for you to go to church, you have to first bring a certificate for civil marriage. No. The only thing we require is that the church must be licensed. It must be licensed to wed people. If it weds people and it is not licensed, it will be doing a disservice to people. It will be doing it illegally. And even those marriages, we cannot register them. We cannot recognize them.
Okay. I think we've done registration of marriages, a little bit of justice, and maybe I'll pick it up again in the tail end. Let's look at these other forms of registration. You talked about intellectual property rights, patents, trademarks. I think that's whole in one thing. How does this work? I am a budding law student, and I really read this, and it's too technical to the extent that I sometimes try to shun away from it. But since you're here, I mean, try to educate us about this.
Yes, so the intellectual properties include patents, trademarks, copyrights, industrial designs. So you have written your book, you have sung a song, those are the copyrights. You have invented something new, and which is which can help somewhere. That is your patent. You can register it. You have a mark, like I think Record TV has like a certain mark. Mm-hmm. You can register it to be exclusive for only Record TV, so that no any other person can use it.
Okay. So if in event that does not happen and someone gets how do you handle that? If it is, for instance, use Record Television, because I know for Record Television it's registered, but someone comes out, for instance, they say ignorance is no defense, but someone comes up and their brand or trademark is taken. In such circumstances, what do you do?
So the whole instance of registration is to protect.
To avoid that, yes.
Yes, to protect what is yours. Okay. So if you do not protect it, it will be taken away. But if you protect it, it will be yours. And whoever takes it away, you have a right to sue that person. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Then how do... I've realized that URSB has been, doing caravans for I think trying to get one-stop centers or something like that to get people register their businesses and all that. How is it so far, especially now that the lockdown has really locked down everything? How have you managed to get such services still available to people?
Our services are online.
Yeah.
Most of them. So you go to our website. There are steps that you follow. You want to, for example, register a business name. You fill a form on online, and then you just submit. You want to register a company, you fill online and you submit, and then you get notifications when the things are ready, and then you just come to pick. Okay. The same applies to IP. The same applies to marriages. The same applies to all the services that we offer. Particularly marriages, like the directorate that I'm in, people like you will send in your application to get married. You send in all the requirements, because we have the requirements that we ask for. We process your application if everything is in order. We give you the tentative date for you to come for your marriage.
Okay.
We'll see you only on that day, because that is what this situation has put us in. But our services have not been tampered with. We are continuing smoothly.
All right. So for those that are not tech savvy, is there any option?
For those that are not?
They're not tech savvy, like technology savvy, like they not computer literate, because with these online platforms, we tend to imagine that everyone just knows these details. Are they still okay to walk right physically into URSB offices and just try to get themselves registered?
Yes.
The hard way,
yes, but we try as much as possible to limit interaction because of the pandemic.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, because these are people I've realized. I hosted a lady from Uganda Revenue Authority, and I was asking about those issues. There are people that really are not so literate about these things.
True.
And people, like for instance, marriages. I mean, people out there do not even know that you have to register. They will just stop at having fun at the party, and even after the honeymoon, they just don't have that, that afterthought. But I think we'll pick up this discussion, I think, later. Let's just take a quick commercial break, and we return. Let's take a quick commercial break right now. We return, the discussion continues. Please stay tuned.
Yellow, how are you? Tell me, how do you do?
We're here to show some appreciation for the things you do.
Thank you for today, and thank you for tomorrow. Thank you for every time and everywhere you go. We love you so, and we enjoy life with you. We are happy, happy, happy to know that we will go with you. That's why we say
Thank you for choosing MTN. Use MTN Mobile Money, bundles, or other services to get Thank You points. The more you use, the more Thank You points you get. We look forward to many more years together. Thank you.
this weekend.
Is Valentine's Day worth celebration?
It's not worthy just because instead of love, they focus on materialistic things.
It's not about giving gifts as everyone would think. I can come to your home. I try to clean up your home.
Can gift someone just because I want something in return. It doesn't give meaning, making it not worth.
When God is creating the earth, he was full of love, and he created this world with love. So I think it's worth celebrating.
Let this one day be a treat for your friends. Why don't you celebrate love to the main commandments of Jesus? We love one another.
Valentine is not worthy a celebration. People are twisting the meaning.
Why do we wait for one day to celebrate love? Instead of people having Valentine's Day, let's begin celebrating our anniversaries, even if it's 10 years.
This weekend on Urban Square.
morning once again, and welcome back from that quick commercial break. We're talking matters, marriage, registration of marriage, and I'm having Mariam Atwine, Registrar of Marriages from the Civil Directorate of Uganda Registration Services Bureau. You know, a body mandated by law to do all the registration of, you know, she kind of hinted earlier on about the services of URSB, you know, getting your companies registered. You know, it's not good to have an entity not known to government. Actually, this also serves as a way of empowering businesses economically by having them legally registered by government. Mariam, this morning, I pick it up from where, but I think you'll pick it up with this, from this point. What are the requirements for, you know, one to have their marriage registered? Or maybe you will just run us through the process, because I'll begin, I think later on, someone off record when you had gone to the break was talking about you do background checks for marriages. I mean, the bulwark of the process is, you know, what we really need to hear from you, Mariam.
Okay, for civil marriages, like I said, we do celebrate marriages from URSB. We do it on behalf of the Registrar General as registrars of marriages. So there are procedures. When you come in that you want to get married, there are a list of requirements that we need from you. We will need your identification. If you're a Ugandan, we need your ID or passport. If you're a foreigner, we do wed foreigners, by the way. If you have your muzungu, you can, don't fear. So if you're a foreigner, you bring your passport. You must, of course, have a valid visa or a work permit or anything to show that you're in the country legally. Then we do require for an LC letter from where you stay. Like I said, for Kampala, it is our mandate. Outside Kampala, it is the CAO's mandate. So we need an LC letter to be sure that you're within our jurisdiction. And even the requirements that we ask at URSB are the same that the CAOs ask. And then if you're a divorcee, we require you to have a divorce decree to be sure that the divorce was completed. If you're a widow or a widower, we require you to have a death certificate for the spouse who passed on. Then you have to identify 2 witnesses. We cannot do it in private. We need witnesses. So you identify 2 witnesses, possibly also need their identification. And then there is a document called the Marriage Affidavit that is sworn before the magistrate or the registrar or the commissioner for oaths. So in that document, you commit yourself and you tell us that you are above the age of 18, because the ID may show, but then we also need you to commit yourself so that if you lie, you're held responsible. So in that document, you tell us that you're above the age of 18, that you're not related in any way with the person that you're going to marry. This can either by blood or by clan. Like here in Uganda, you cannot, and I think also in other tribes, you cannot get married to a person of your same clan because you're considered to be related. So
in our tribe, it's...
which tribe is that?
Mnyankole.
I am a Mnyankole too, but you're lying. If you're of the same clan, it is an abomination. You can't get married.
Anyway,
okay, so in that document, you have to say that you commit or swear to us that you're not related, and then that you freely give your consent. No one is forcing you, you're just doing it freely. So those are the requirements, those documents. As of now, once you have all these documents put together, you fill a notice form, which is provided on our website, and that notice is the one that will run for 21 days. Now, during those 21 days, we put you on our notice board. We have the physical notice board and our electronic notice board, which can be accessed through our website. So during those 21 days, if someone comes up and says, no, this person is my husband, or this person is my wife, cannot get married to another person, they will put a caveat. And once they put a caveat, now that is the matter for court to determine. We pull out until court has decided. So if the 21 days are over and no one challenged, then you get married. You have 90 days within which to get married. And then you're good to go. You come after the 21 days, you come to RSB. Now, for example, there are people who are coming tomorrow, meaning that they applied 21 days ago. So their marriage is falling due tomorrow. So once you come, the process takes about at most 15 minutes, and then you leave URSB with your certificate, legally married. Now, for our marriages at URSB, the civil marriages, they are registered automatically because you're doing it there. Now, we are not saying that you first go and then you come back to register. Now, the moment we give you the certificate, it means that everything has been done, you're registered. For church marriages, it is the duty of the church. For example, if you get married from All Saints Church, it is the duty of All Saints to register your marriage. But should All Saints delay, and maybe you have an urgent matter, maybe you want to fly out of the country with your wife, you want to apply for something and they are requiring for proof, you can do it yourself. You go to the church where you got married from, you get a cover letter where the church is saying, yes, this marriage took place from our church, and then you attach your IDs and you bring it yourself and we register it. Customary marriage, like I said, the sub-county chief or the town clerk is the one who issues the certificate, then gives you also a cover letter and says, yes, these people are good to go, you can register them. The Hindu, still, the person in charge of the temple writes a cover letter. You attach your IDs and a copy of the certificate, and we register. Same applies to Islamic. The mosque in Chibuli or Old Kampala gives you a cover letter and a copy of the certificate plus your IDs, and we register them. That is if they have delayed to register, because ideally it is the duty of the church, of the mosque, of the temple to register those marriages.
Okay, well, I think we get back to the event tomorrow, which actually I think is the climax for all this. What do you intend to offer us? Because personally, Record TV will be there to cover the event.
Okay, so were you there last year?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you missed. So we'll be having a red carpet. Okay. We decorate our offices right from the ground floor. So you reach the whole building, you see that the ambience is really love, romance, marriage, everything is rosy. So we'll be having a red carpet. We are going to decorate our offices. The marriage room, which usually is like office, it will be decorated, flowers, the couples for tomorrow, most of them have been contacted. They know what is going to be happening. Let them feel free. They can put on their gowns. They can put on, carry flowers. Let them just feel at home. Tomorrow is their day. We are just celebrating love. And it so happens that actually they are getting married on that day when we are celebrating love. Like I said, we are doing it tomorrow, the 12th, because 14th is falling on a Sunday, and we don't work on Sunday. So that's why we decided to do it on the 12th. So it will be really beautiful. Okay. So if you're not in a hurry, you can really time that time of the year. But like I said, civil marriages, we are trying to take away this perception from people to think that it is a contract, it is so legalistic, there is no difference between a civil marriage and a church marriage in terms of commitment or authenticity or anything. It is just that the procedure is different, and the forum, maybe the other one goes to church and this one goes to an office. But there is no difference. Civil marriages are not contractual. It is a lifetime commitment. It can only be dissolved by going to court and you get a divorce, or by death. So it is also till death do us part, or till or till divorce do us part. So it's not contractual.
Okay, anyway, you've made it like crystal clear. But you know, that whole bit, does this, I think it only happens this time of the year. I mean, because you know, when you try to, you're trying to debunk, you know, the fact that, you know, because, you know, with church marriages, you have the leverage of, you know, coming with a fleet of cars and, you know, that whole bit of church marriages. And so does this only happen in Feb as we're going to Valentine's Day, or it can, you know, happen on a day? What if my marriage falls like on a working day? And can I really come with all that fleet at yours for marriage, and, you know, and I don't cause some sort of distraction with work going on at the offices?
It's only because we are just limited because of space. But otherwise, we'll do it every other day that we have marriages at office. But we are just limited. But like I said, should you not want to do it from our offices, you can apply for a special license to gazette a place. Take, for example, you want to get married from Serena Chigo. I think maybe if you haven't, but we have celebrated marriages from Serena, from Sheraton, from Munyonyo, from... It is very simple. The couple intending to marry, they apply for a special license to gazette that place specifically for that marriage. That license is granted by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, but it is through our office. So the application is brought to our office, and at the end of that day, it will be signed by the Minister. So once the Minister has granted, we, URSB, will come to you at your venue and celebrate your marriage from there. So you can still, you see, you can still make civil marriage look fancy, nice, outside office. But otherwise, we are just limited because of space, but we'll do it every day, every other day.
Okay, now when you talk about licensing special places, I've seen, I don't know, if, for instance, I don't want to get married in some sort of physical church building, and I want my church marriage to take place somewhere else, do I again have to apply for that special license for the church? It's not only limited to civil.
Yes, the special license is not limited to civil.
Okay.
You know, like I said, civil marriage and church marriage are provided for under the same law.
Okay.
So they are so like sister and brother, or sisters.
Right.
So even if you want to do a church marriage and you want your pastor or your reverend or your father to wed you from the beach, from the gardens, from the hotel, you can still apply for a special license. Then the church that is going to wed you still must be licensed. Then the church will commit itself. In your application, it will commit itself and say, yes, we are going to wed this couple, and we are licensed to wed couples. So this license is paid for. It is an extra fee. It is paid for at only 300,000 shillings.
Wow.
300,000.
Okay.
300,000 shillings. Okay. So the couple makes an application to the minister through the Registrar General, asking for a place, say Munyonyo, Serena, to be gazetted for their wedding. Of course, by the time they make the application, they already have a date in mind. So they say, we are getting married on such and such a date. We'd like to get married from this place. You give your reasons. Maybe you want all your family members to be there. You don't want to be in the office setup. Sometimes, you know, like our offices are on the 4th floor. Maybe you have your parents who are so elderly and cannot make it, and you want to take them to a place where they can feel comfortable. So you give your reasons by way of an affidavit. You attach it, and the minister will grant. He has that discretion, but in most cases, he grants the application. And then we find you at your venue, and we marry you if it is a civil marriage. If it is a church marriage, you take the license to the church, and then your pastor will marry you, or the priest, or the reverend.
Okay. I think as we winding up this discussion, any important footnotes that you really need the public to know about URSB and the Directorate of Civil Registration? Yes.
One thing I'm going to emphasize is please, the public should always search on the church that they are going to get married from. You know, like doing your church marriage, you make the vows, you do the reception, and at the end of the day, you come to register your marriage at URSB and they tell you, no, we can't. It is null and void because the church was never licensed. So please, before you take that step to book a day, to book a date, simple, just come to URSB, say, I want to search on this church, I want to know if it is licensed to wed. Or ask the church, or visit our website. We even have a list of licensed churches on our website, and check if the church is licensed. Then if it is licensed, you know you're safe, you know you're good to go. Instead of getting married and then later they tell you, no, it can't happen. And then again, I encourage people to register. So like almost every other weekend, we have customary marriages here and there. So sometimes we do these customary marriages and then maybe we are constrained financially. We say, let's just wait for like a year or two as we organize finances to do the church wedding. So once you do that customary marriage, even if you're going to wait for a year, come and register it. You never know what will happen in that period. But if you have a registered customary marriage certificate, it is conclusive evidence that you got married at that point. And then later when you convert it, you upgrade to the church marriage certificate. Because like I said, the customary marriage certificate, customary marriage itself is potentially polygamous. So meaning that it cannot be between two people. The man may add on and add on and add on. So we are encouraging people, once you do your customary marriages, come and register. Even if you're waiting, even if you're going to convert, but come and register. At least have something in the meantime. And then for churches, we are encouraging them. We have a system for filing marriage returns. Those marriages that have taken place, we call them returns. So normally, before all this, they used to bring them physically to our offices. But now we have a system, an online system. A church can apply for an account, and then they just register their marriages from the comfort of their offices at churches, and then we receive them at URSB without them moving from their churches to URSB. So they can get accounts. We train them on how to use the system, and then they file their returns.
Okay, thank you so much. But one that has just dropped in my mind right now, what does it take for a church to be licensed to carry out marriages? Okay,
for a church to be licensed, when they make the application, still the license is granted by the minister. But again, it is through our office. It is through the Registrar General and then to the minister. So they make an application. In the application, they specify which denomination they are. Are they Anglican? Are they Catholic? Are they Pentecostal? Are they Orthodox? So they specify which denomination. They tell us the location where the church is. If it is within Kampala, we usually conduct an inspection to be sure that it actually exists. If it is outside Kampala, it is the duty of the CAO. So by the time the church makes an application, they attach the inspection report from the CAO's office. We usually and strongly advise that it should be a permanent building, because the license is given for a place. So if it is like a temporary building, they may be there. We have given them a license here or in Kamocha, and then tomorrow you hear that they have shifted again to, let's say, Ntinda, and yet the license was given for the place in Kamocha. So we strongly advise and usually recommend that it should be a permanent building. Then in the letter they propose the ministers, the church ministers that will be celebrating. They attach their IDs and their qualifications. And then that license is a one-off, by the way, and it is granted at 200,000 shillings.
Okay. At the end of the day, things are not as expensive as they look to be. You know, it's pretty interesting. But thank you so much for creating time, coming to educate us about this. Some of these are quite an eye opener, especially in such a fledgling economy. Yet if we have cost effective, just as you said in your own words, cost effective measures, then I think that that does it for us. Thank you so much, Madam Mariam Matwine.
Okay, lastly, sorry, I wanted to give out our contacts for any inquiries. Maybe there are people who had questions while they were listening to me, but they can call toll free. This is the number 0800 100 006. 0800 100 006. We have a WhatsApp number. You can send a WhatsApp message. It is on 0712 448 448. 0712 448 448. Then our website is www.ursb.go.ug. Then specifically for marriages, if you have any inquiry, maybe you want to send in your application, you send to marriages, the word marriages, at ursb.go.ug.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Mariam Matwine, for this wonderful, eye-opening information about marriage. Yeah, thank you so much. Well, we take a quick commercial break, but the Daybreaker continues, and this morning we are still discussing events of the week, but we've been discussing marriages and registration of marriages in this segment. But let's go for a break. Next is my colleague Thomas Tarima coming in to discuss politics and security in Uganda with George Fred Kajima, who's the guest. Please stay tuned.